Hey guys, how's it going? Just hanging out on the river, so sorry if it's a little bit windy. I'm out at the Georges River National Park today, taking a bit of time out to do some basic maintenance on the van, and I thought I would share it with you guys just in case there's some people out there that are not so mechanically minded that might want a few tips and maybe get pointed in the right direction of where to start as far as your basic maintenance is concerned. So yeah, hang around and I'll go through the main sort of more important things to check when doing your own maintenance. Just to give you an idea where we're at, this is the Georges River here, and I'm parked over there. Bit of a mess at the moment, sorry. I just had to take all the stuff that would normally be on the seat and dump it on the floor. This is my engine bay. Obviously in this style of van the engine is actually underneath the seat, which is why I've got the fan running at the moment, because it lets a lot of heat into the van when you've been driving, and you open that up, it's like a massive heater. So all these tips are going to be pretty basic for anyone that knows how to maintain a car. It's more aimed at people that are interested in doing their own maintenance but maybe don't know what to check. So first one, which is probably the most important and also one of the most obvious, engine oil. And to check that, there is a dipstick. Normally in all cars they've got a dipstick, and it's generally pretty obvious. This one's bright yellow, and it actually says engine oil on it. So you just pull that out. I've checked mine already, but I'll pull it out again and show you. And should look like that on the end. I'll see if I can get it to focus. It's got an F for full, so you want it to basically be wet up to the full line. Mine is about halfway up, so mine needs a little bit of oil. You find all this sort of maintenance is a lot more important on the older cars, because as a car gets older and you put more miles on it, they start to burn through oil and coolant more often. New cars, really you shouldn't have to. I wouldn't expect a new car to burn through oil or coolant. If it did, there'd be something wrong with it, but you still got to check it anyway. To fill the oil, you're going to want to look for that cap, take it off and put in enough oil until you're up to the full line on your dipstick. So I'm going to try and do that one-handed right now and see how we go. Okay, spilt a little bit, but it's because I didn't have a funnel. That's a tip for you. Make sure you got a funnel. Next most important thing is coolant. So you always got to make sure you got spare coolant in your van or your RV, in case it burns through a little bit, because you really don't want to be run out of coolant. That's a bad situation to be in. You end up overheating and you can blow your entire motor. So important. To check your coolant, you're going to want to look for your reservoir for your radiator. It's this white tank here on mine, and then down the side there is a line. I don't know if you can see it, this one here, and that's the full line for my coolant. Now I had already checked it recently, so mine, if I take this off, is actually full, but that's really important to check and make sure you put the right type of coolant in. See, mine, when I got this vehicle, had the pink coolant in it, so I have to make sure I put pink coolant in it. You don't want to be mixing them. So the next thing that I'd normally check after the engine oil and the coolant would be the belts, or belt, depending on what vehicle you have, but the belts are kind of in the same area, so they're easy to get to. Mine have been replaced recently, so they're essentially brand new. As you can see, they're really clean and new looking, but it's important to check if you have multiple. I've got 3, so I check all 3, and when I got the vehicle they were in pretty bad shape, so I went through and replaced them all, and now they're sweet. But the way to check them is, A, you've got to have the right tension. There should be good resistance, it shouldn't be floppy. But the more important thing to check is that the actual belt itself hasn't cracked on the underside, because normally when they get old, they crack and bits start to fall off. When I got this van, one of the belts was just falling to pieces, and it happens to be the hardest one to get to. So I have a suspicion that the mechanic that was working on this van didn't want to do the extra work to get to the third belt, so he just replaced the first two and left the last one. So yeah, check them for cracks, check them for wear and tear, and make sure they're the right tension. And they should be replaced incrementally anyway, just to be sure. So the other two things that I'd recommend checking on a regular basis would be your tires and your brake pads. These are mine here. This is the front anyway. I would check the tread on the tire. Make sure you've got enough tread. There are legal indicators on the tire. I don't know if you'll be able to see. I'll see if I can find one on the camera. So this one here is my legal indicator. Once the tread reaches down to that indicator, they're, or in Australia at least, they're deemed to be no longer roadworthy. And it's also a good indication of how safe they are to use. But also you want to make sure that you check the entire width of the tread, because sometimes if your van needs wheel alignment or something like that, they can wear more on the inside or the outside. So you just got to be careful with that sort of stuff. Sometimes people just look at the outside and go, oh yeah, there's plenty of tread, and the inside could be worn down to the belts. So check the full width of the tread, and also make sure that the rubber's not getting old and starting to crack, because tires do actually have a bit of a shelf life, and once they get a few years old, they can start to crack. And I had that with my last set of tires. Actually, the sidewalls started to crack and fall apart, and that's not a good look. And then yeah, the brake pads, I can't really show you them because they're hidden in there. Oh, you can sort of see them, but basically you just want to make sure that there's enough meat left on them as well. And then yeah, you're sort of good to go. There's one more tip that I would give, and it's only for people with power steering, and that's to check your power steering fluid. So that's my power steering there. Just unscrew that one, pop it off, and have a look at the indicator. It'll normally have a hot and a cold level. Just go based on whether your engine's hot or cold. And I've never really had any power steering problems, but it's good to check anyway. And yeah, hopefully those tips have helped someone. Hopefully I didn't bore too many people that already knew it, and hopefully you're entertained in some way. And I'll see you next time. Hey guys, I hope you liked the video. If you did, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe down below. And if you want any questions answered, just leave a comment and I'll see what I can do. Bye. I busted me shoe.